Morning, Bill. Morning, Davy. Welcome back to the Star Sports Zoom Room. It's Friday morning before big weekends racing at Aintree and at Sandown. Thank you both for joining us. How are you both?
All good. I just can't figure out the result of the Hennessy last week.
Bill, should we just move past it?
You've just gone and done it again. You just gone and pulled a big one from the hat again.
I know. It's been a bit of luck, Davy.
Luck goes out of it after you do it 3 or 4 times, Bill.
Oh, that's
Davy, if he was a 3-year-old, I'd definitely be selling him to Hong Kong. I can tell you that much. Sadly, he's definitely older than 3. I can assure you that. No, Bill, well done with Cloth Cap. Well done. Say again?
I said he is on the call, by the way.
There we go. Well done, Bill. Cloth Cap, that was some find, and he didn't just win, he routed them. Where do you think they'll go with him?
Well, national, I think, is where they want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, he jumped. I mean, I haven't seen a horse jump as well as he did for a long time. I thought he jumped brilliantly. Davey, you must have been impressed by the way he jumped.
Absolutely. I think Tom Scudamore was brilliant on him. He just took the race by the scruff of the neck, and it's great that John Joe had him in tip-top shape, and Trevor Hemming's colours, I'll tell you one thing, it's could be written in the stars.
Yeah.
Right, talking about horses written in the stars, we've got Altior, who's the 11-8 favourite for the Tingle Creek, who's a horse of a generation. I was just looking down at the Tingle Creek when I looked at this the other day. What a great race this is. It's always penciled in your diary. You never miss it. We had horses like Masterminded win it twice, Corto Star, Moscow Flyer, Viking Flagship Uberales. The best horse I've ever seen in my lifetime, Sprinter Sacra, won it back in 2012. Best horse you've seen in your lifetime, Bill?
Lord Windermere.
There we go. Davey, best, not your favourite, the best horse you've seen in your lifetime?
Yeah, probably Cato Star, I would have to say.
You'd hardly argue. So down the card in the Tingle Creek, we bet at Star Sports 8-11 Altior, 4-1 Politologue, 9-2 Grenadine, 7 Rouge Vif, 20 Brewing Up a Storm, 28 Castle Grace Paddy. Someone make a case. Bill, can you make a case to be against the favourite?
Not really.
No, I
think looks really hard to beat. I mean, he hasn't had many goes out here. I mean, this is only his kind of 9th run, I think, in 3 years. You know, he's lightly raced. I know he's getting on a bit in years, but his reappearance run last year, you know, Nick Henson came out this week and said he should never have run him over 2 miles 5 in the soft ground. And you know, I just think he's a super horse. I'd be very surprised if he gets beat. I mean, Politologue, Grenadine, Rouge Vif probably wants better ground. I just think Altior will win.
Yeah, Davey, obviously you'd like to ride him if you could pick one on paper. Who do you see as his main threat?
I think bearing weather brings 2 horses closer to him. Politologue doesn't mind, as he showed at the festival last year, doesn't mind a stiff test. And the Irish horse, who rarely goes through a season consistently, is Castle Grace Paddy. But speaking, I've ridden him in the past. He's owned by Great Man and Steve Parkin, and Joe Foley looks after Steve's racing side of things. And Joe tells me that he's had a brilliant summer, as in recuperating. The softer ground, and now I mean when there's water flowing down the track, this fella just loves deep, soft ground. And the more rain, the stiffer the test. Now, it has to be a real stiff test for him to get involved. But if it became an absolute borderline, you know, unraceable, this horse is at his very best in them circumstances. So for that reason, Castle Grace Paddy at a big price. If you didn't want to, if you're not going to back Altior odds on, and you have question marks over the rest, Castle Grace Paddy has experience, travels very well through his races, but I just think that this year could be a year that he might upset something, and Sandown would suit him, you know.
Yeah, on the day, if you're on the Star Sports website, I'm sure there will be a betting without the favourite market there for you, and that might be the route to go down. Right, I think we agreed Altior will win that, and look, we very much look forward to watching it and be delighted to see the crowds back on the racecourse for a big Saturday race as well. So to anyone that's going, please enjoy yourself. I'm sure you will. Let's go back through the card quickly. I'm going to touch on one other race at Sandown, which is the Henry VIII, which is the Novice Chase, which is effectively the starting ground to try and find the next Altior or Sprinter Sacra. Let's have a look at the prices here. I know we had the market with All Mankind, who is a 9-4 favourite, All Mankind for the Harry and Dan Skelton team, 5-2 Hitman, 7-2 Eldorado Allen, 5-1 GA Law, 8-1 Tamarack, and 12-1 Phoenix Way. Bill, I was very taken with All Mankind at Warwick. He got to the front. He clearly enjoyed it. He's very headstrong. How much of a factor do you think the ground is here in terms of giving Hitman and Eldorado and Allen a bit more of a shout, a bit more of a crack at him?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if he's going to go point and shoot and try and make all, that's probably where the market is seeing support for Hitman and Eldorado Allen, because they go on the ground and they potentially stay a bit further than him. I mean, Hitman and Eldorado Allen both took advantage of other foolers in their respective races. I mean, Gumball would have probably beaten Eldorado Allen the last time, and Hitman had a couple of foolers in his race. I'm not going to go through this Zoom tipping up every favourite, but the more All Mankind drifts, the more interested I am in him, because I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was a really, really impressive chasing debut. I like front runners around Sandown who get into a rhythm over those fences. For novices, they get in a rhythm over those railway fences. They can be hard to peg back. And I just thought he looks really, really good. Good third at Cheltenham in the Triumph last year. I thought All Mankind's done nothing wrong, and he's got soft ground form too. I thought him around 5-2 was a decent bet.
Yeah, you're like me. You automatically look for reasons for the favourites to get beat, not necessarily win. And I thought he looked a real natural at Warwick. He's very obviously likes to get to the front, and he's got his own way of doing things, Davy. But there didn't seem to be anything wrong with his jumping, did there?
No, he looked very good. He looked very good that way. Oh, he's a 4-year-old. You know, it's just I find it hard on our side of the water. It'd be very difficult to rate 4-year-olds. They seem to get on better in England earlier. And then
why do you think?
I don't know. I don't know why it is. I don't know why it is. The English trainers seem to go chasing earlier with them, you know, juveniles / 4-year-olds than they would in Ireland. So we see very, very little 4-year-olds going chasing over here. And I don't know. I think it's just they take advantage of it over in England, and they don't seem to carry it through. I think very little of them have won at the festival. So for that reason, I think the Irish horses just stay hurdling a little bit longer or try and mature a little bit more. For that reason, the £6 is quite a hike on testing ground. We know the ground isn't going to inconvenience him, and probably All Mankind is going to be very hard to beat. But you know, he's next in the betting is another 4-year-old Hitman who destroyed the field in Foss last. And I do like Eldorado Allen. I do. I must say he was very good around Sandown the last day, and his course and distance form. You know, I'd be edging towards him.
Okay, well, I'm with you, Bill. The big All Mankind gets. I do think Phoenix Way deserves a mention, who's done nothing wrong. I was surprised he's the rag of the field at 12. Another case, a bit like the last race, you'd love to have 8 runners and have him on your side each way, but we're not going to get them.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing to mention was that the horse that All Mankind beat last time, that Zanzo, won quite easily at Newbury last weekend, so that form's been franked. So yeah, he would definitely be the one for me.
Right, let's move further north, about 150 miles up to Aintree, and let's start with the Becher Chase. Obviously, over the Grand National fences, and we've all got our distinct stories and memories and thoughts from the National. Davey, no one more so than you. I think my first memory of the National was I was obsessed with the Grand National as a child. I had sort of scrapbooks and things like that, and I remember I was about 5 years old, and my dad took me to Aintree, and we walked the course, and I stood in front of the chair, and he told me it was the chair, and I recognised it was the chair, but I didn't believe him that it was the chair, because I didn't think it could possibly be that big. Now, admittedly, I was 5 and about 2 feet tall, which didn't help, but I'll never forget that. What are your first memories of the National, Davy, and of those fences, riding over them? I'm talking.
Funnily enough, my first ride over the fence was in the Fox Hunters, and for some reason I got a strange phone call during the year to go to Fakenham for I think it might have been, it was a bank holiday or something. There was loads of races on. They ran out of jockeys, and I was an amateur. And I got a phone call to go to Fakenham, and I rode 2 or 3 winners. I rode a double. It was my first double on the track as an amateur, and then that horse ran in the Fox Hunters at Aintree that year, and he was 150 to 1, and so my plan was to get to the front at some stage and get on the television so that I could go home and watch riding over the national fences, right? So this is going through my head, and so we jump off at the Fox Hunter start to stare up the entrance to the straight, and I have no chance of getting to the front. This horse is flat to the boards, further and further back. But all of a sudden, when we get around the bend and get to the Grand National start, the whole field go down the Melling Chase Road, chase course. And next thing, I seen my opportunity, and I headed for the front because I knew they were going wrong. And I headed, and I got to the front for the next fence, and I pulled up. Oh no, I refused Becher's Brook. I got back up on him, and then I fell out to Fine Haven. So that was my first experience of the Aintree fences, and I thought I'd never get to go over them again, but luckily enough, I got plenty of goes over them afterwards.
It got a bit better. It got a bit better in the end. The
definitely got a bit better. Yeah. It took a couple of years, mind, but it definitely got better. Yeah.
That's great. That is a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that with us, Bill. From memories to creating them, I think if we create memory, if people could back big price winners, they remember those too. If we look at the beach, I'll give you a quick rundown of the betting with Star Sports. The Broy heads the betting at 9-2 favouritism. Kimberlite Candy was second last year, 5-1. Last year's Victor Walk in the Mill is 11-2. Ramsey to tie 15-2. Yala Enki 17-2. Callet Mad 9. Kustar Similar Wellback 9, 10-1 bar. I'll let you have first stab. Bill, you can give me 2 against the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good renewal. You got last year's 1-2 back again. Kimberlite Candy and Walk in the Mill. Walk in the Mill's going for a hat trick. The question with Walk in the Mill is, has the handicapper got him? I mean, he just is so good around these fences. The first time he won this race was off 137. He won it off 141 last year. It's just whether he can win it off 149. He deserves his place towards the top of the market. They'll both run well. I wouldn't want to play either of them just at the prices. It's not really my style. I'd rather look elsewhere. David Pipe's got a strong hand. Obviously, Ramsey de Tay had a great battle with Yala Enki at Cheltenham. I like Yala Enki. That would be my first dart at the board. Top weight. Bryony Frost riding for Paul Nicholls. The ground's already soft. It's going to get softer. There's rain around. It's going to be hard work. I like horses that race prominently. The weight shouldn't be a problem for him. He's one off 157. He's a few pounds higher, but I don't mind that. He's a good jumper, good attitude, stays further. I just think he'll run really well. So I go Yala Enki as my first dart, and then I go elsewhere. As I said, I like the Pipe team. I think they'll run really well. He's got a short one in Ramsey de Tay, but I'm going to go for the old boy, Verlion Rouge. Verlion Rouge has had 8 goes over these fences.
And I've backed him 9 of those times, I think.
Well, no horse has jumped more Grand National fences in history than Verlion Rouge.
Is that true?
Yeah. He's jumped over 200 of these competitively. He has... The interesting thing with Verlion Rouge is that he's 11 and it scares people off, but older horses have a great record in this race. We've had a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. Hello, bud. So the age doesn't bother me. The soft grounds come. He lines up in this race off a mark of 140. So this will be the lowest ever mark he's ever raced off over these fences at the 9th attempt. Had a nice pipe opener last time in the veterans race. And the more rain that falls, the more excited I am about him. I think he's a 16-1 chance. I think he'll run really, really well. He's completed all of those 8 starts, including when he won this race back in 2016. and I just think he is set to run a really big race. So I'll go 16-1 or bigger Verlion Rouge each way, and Jarlarenki each way at around 17-2, 10-1, or wherever he is.
Well, I'm pleased to see that we're 14-1 Verlion Rouge for the man in form.
That's why people bow down to Bill Del. He does his homework.
I'm glad someone does, because he could do enough for all of us. Davy, a horse that's running in this race, who's a single figure price, Callet Mad, who's 9-1, who's not run in nearly 700 days. I was amazed how short he was. He's on my radar. I think no one trains them better for around there than Nigel Twiston Davis. I was thinking a horse that has always been crying out for a trip. If he took to the fences, as they say, I thought Callet Mad was interesting. But with modern day training methods, etc., can you come back from a 700-day layoff in a race like this?
You can if you're trained by Nigel Twiston Davis. He's very, very good trainer. He's brilliant over these fences. His horses have just started to come into a rich vein of form, and I would disregard him as your peril, because just Nigel around here is you have to respect him. I just have a liking for a horse now. He's gone up in the handicap, and he's gone up 11 pounds, and didn't run his best race the last day, but he won in Haydock the time before. It's Smooth Stepper, Alex Hales' horse. I think there's loads of experience. He's rock hard. I don't think the ground. Look, I think if the ground is loose, he should be okay in it. I'd say gluey ground might catch him out. He was very good around Haydock 2 runs ago, and again, you'd have to agree with everything that Bill says with Leon Rouge. And David Pipe again, another brilliant around here. So, but just a horse at a big price, I thought. He's capable of winning a big handicap already. He'd definitely be capable of running well in this. Is Smooth Stepper. So
Smooth Stepper for you, Davy. Callet Mad for me, and Bill, you put up 2, which are Jarlarenki and Verlion Rouge, who we're 14 about, not 16. Excellent. Right, moving through the card onto the Many Clouds Chase. What a race we've got here. Let's get the prices up for you. Heading the market is last year's runner-up in the Gold Cup, Santini, who's a 5-4 chance. Native River, Gold Cup winner himself, 2-1. Frodon, the public horse, is 5-2. 16 Lakeview Lad, 40 Keeper Hill. I was saying to you earlier, Bill, Davey as well, you might think this, for a horse of Santini's ability and for what he's achieved, which is a lot, doesn't seem to get the credit or the loving or the public following that he deserves, in my opinion. Would you say that's fair? People always seem to want to criticise him first rather than applaud him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be of that opinion. I think he's very, very good. I think maybe, I suppose he finished second in the World Cup, and people that backed him and had faith with him may just have lost a little bit of faith with him. But I wouldn't lose faith in him. He's only his third season chasing that he's heading into, and this is the start of it. He's trained by one of the best, definitely one of the best at the moment. His horse on super form. Listening to him last week, talking about him, his preparation for this race, it all seems to have gone really, really well. And I feel that what the experience he gained last year is going to stand to him no end this year. And I think you'll be looking for a really, really big performance out of him in this. Frodon, we all know, is very, very difficult to beat this time of the year. He gets out to the front, he puts in exceptional round of jumping, but I think the favourite is a worthy favourite, and I would be on his side here.
Bill, the way this race will be ridden and raced is going to have a huge impact on it, isn't it? I know that's probably a question for you rather than for Davey, rather than you, Bill, but to both of you, you'd have to think that Native River and Frodon might sort of tend to cut each other's throats up front. They'll both be keen to get to the front, won't they?
Yeah, well, the other that's what it is. Native River may not be quick enough to take on Frodon, and that could very easily, I suppose it all depends on what way. Richard Johnson knows Native River really well, and Bryony knows Frodon really well. So one of them is going to be at a disadvantage. And I would imagine that Frodon can easily get to the front because he has the pace to do it. Richard could be just under a little bit of pressure earlier than he would like on Native River to put him to the pin of his collar. So for me, it's all setting up again for Santini, you know. But one of them is going to be at a disadvantage. In Richard probably could lack a bit of pace early to get there, because Frodon jumps really quick and fast and has that bit of pace after that he shows that he can run over shorter distances. So I would suggest Frodon, if he wants, can win that battle quite easy. And if Native River fills the gap between himself, Frodon and Santini, then it sets up the race nicely.
I mean, Native River didn't front run for the first start of this race last year. He let Black Corton go on. I think he'll let Frodon go on again. Whether the track plays to Santini's strengths, I'm not so sure. I personally feel, in answer to your original question about Santini and the love affair with the British racing public, he's an incredible horse, but he's been to the Cheltenham Festival 3 times and been beaten on all 3 times. And that's probably why he hasn't loved, because he hasn't got it done on the big days. He's run brilliant races, but he's just been touched off. I think that's what the lack of public affection is probably to do with the 3 Cheltenham defeats. But I think here, it's only the 5 runners, but it should be a great race. I think Frodon will take a lot of pegging back. He's in form, like Davy touched on the important point. This is his time of year. You know, when you turn into Jan, February, March, he's maybe not as good, but even though he's won a Ryanair, this is his time of year. Comes here in great form. Brian will get a great tune out of him. It's just whether Native River and Santini have got the gears to reel him in. As they turn into the straight at Aintree, I can see Frodon having a 2-3 length lead. They might not be able to reel him in. Both of them lack race fitness. I think all the cards point to Frodon, and I'd be with him here.
Right, interesting. A race that the more we talk about it, the more I'm just looking forward to watching it. Right, we've covered those 4 races in great depth. It's been great fun talking to you. Let's just very quickly, in under 2 minutes, quickly have a look at the Grand Sefton, which is later in the afternoon at Aintree. Betting down the card with the Star Sports is Huntsman's Son 9-2, market favourite. Modus 6-1, Lords of Menstill 13-2, Senior Citizen 8, Springtown Lake 8, Somatical 9, 10-1. Bar. I will quickly say that my main pick for the weekend will probably be Flying Angel, who's a 14-1 chance in this race. It looks a big each way price. Bill, a couple of each way in the race for me, please.
Yeah. Wide open race. You can make cases out for loads of them. You know, obviously Huntsman's Son deserves to be favourite, but I am going to spread my stakes on 2. I'm going to stick with Nicky Henderson. I'm going to go with Mike Bite to roll back the years.
Really?
I think he is going to. Davey thinks.
I know you're in form, but Christ alive, you can't bring that horse back from the dead, can you?
Well, I think
we're going to call you the Resurrector or something like that if this carries on.
No, we'll have to set up for this one. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Get the holy water.
That Nicky, there was an interesting call that Nicky Henderson did with the media for Great British Racing early in the week, and he said that Nico had been begging him to drop Mike Bite back in trip, and he's had a smooth prep for this. Race Fitness called him out at Ascot last time when they turned in. He said he's taken him to the national fences in Lambourne and he loved them. It's a leap of faith. He wasn't brilliant over the cross country chases, but the horse still has an engine. And actually, I just thought he might go really well off a marker 150 from the top, bounty out in front. Davy's looking at me like I'm absolutely mad, but let's see. I'm convinced that Mike Bite's going to run well.
I was going to say, Jesus rose again in 3 days. It looks like he's going to take Mike Bite 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, he may well be, but I just think he might have more lead in the pencil than people give him credit for. The other one I liked was, there's a clever one here down the bottom. I thought it was a big price. Was Venetia Williams' horse, Didero Vallis, is around 16-1, number 15, right the way down the bottom. Yeah. Now, this horse finished 5th in this race, admittedly beaten miles by Hogan's Height last year, off a mark of 134. Remarkably reappears here off £3 lower. Won't mind the rain, won't round the soft ground. Just 10 stone 6. Her horse is in good form. I thought 16-1 was a bit of an insult in a wide open race, but I'll go Didero Vallis and Mike Bite for a bit of madness.
Ravy. Christ alive, it's been a long one. Davy, to wrap up this Zoom room, give us the winner of the Grand Sefton, please.
He's just going to say, not Mike Bite. He's going to say.
Not Mike Bite.
If you could ride one.
I would love to ride Somatical of Paul Nichols's.
Perfect.
I think he's a horse for me. I think Paul over these fences this time of the year, he's just very hard to beat. His horse is in super form. Brian will be riding with loads of confidence after riding Fraud on. I think he could be the horse.
Guys, these are always great fun every week, but this week was particularly enjoyable. Thank you very much both for your time. We've got a lot to live up to next week when we go again. Enjoy your weekends. Bill, I do hope you're back another win, but I can't keep going with you putting up 14-1 winners every week. So
That could
hopefully
be Mike Bite.
Christ alive, if Mike Bite wins, guys, he will not be having a Zoom room to the New Year's, okay? So look, enjoy your racing. If you're going to Sandown or Aintree, enjoy being back on a race course. Get on the starsports.bet website and have a few bets and win a few quid. Thank you guys for your time as always.
Thank you.